So my name is Rick Rodriguez. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for Lubbock ISD.
I'm Misty Rieber. I'm the Chief Academic Officer for Lubbock ISD.
The TIA being a part of trying to be creative in creating some compensation space for our teachers, because that has been such an anchor for public education is to how to differentiate compensation other than by years of experience. And being at the ground level has really afforded us the opportunity and maximum flexibility with their support, with TEA support, to be able to build that structure in a way that maximizes teacher compensation for those effective teachers. What's had the largest impact for us from the finance side of the house, I will tell you, having the TIA or the ability to differentiate compensation has been groundbreaking, quite frankly, with teacher compensation being such a hot topic and trying to still be able to stay within a realm that is reasonable and what we'll use air quotes for fair. Has allowed us to, with their support, to build a structure with stakeholders all across, from teachers, central office people, administrators, creating a system that everybody could buy into. And so using their support systems to help us create that has really provided us the pathway to be able to do that in an effective way and with buy-in from everybody. And so there's still getters and not getters. Right? There's still people that don't get the TIA, but there's an understanding around why. And I think that's very powerful when we hear things like, well, why didn't I get it? Well, because of X, Y, Z. Okay, so how then can I get to that point? That's what's driving the improvement, and that's obviously what we're looking for.
I would say, to add to TIA, the purpose is retention. And we have incredible stories of teachers that have stayed in the classroom when they had leadership opportunities, stayed in the classroom when they thought they couldn't go any longer because they're effective and because the compensation made them feel valued in what they were doing, so they stayed. When we look at the other areas that we talked about, and we talk about high quality instructional materials specifically, we've been a part of every component that TEA has offered. When we talk about high quality instructional materials, we participated with TEA in the pilot structure, in the grant structure, all the way through with Crimsey, Lasso, Strong Start, every opportunity. We've had material resources, which have just been a gift. We've also had professional development from both the agency, from the service center, and from the vendors themselves. And then we also participated in T-Class, where we received instructional coaching support in the form of personnel. I think our implementation of those materials has been successful because we partnered and had support along the way for wraparound services to make it work. I think one of our greatest assets and one of the greatest exciting things is when you look at our star reading scores. We have been part of high quality instructional materials with the use of Amplify from the beginning of implementation. And we are seeing that our star scores in both third grade reading and eighth grade reading are projected and moving far beyond what we ever imagined. We've surpassed our board goals. We've surpassed our outcome goals that we were looking for from the beginning. So we're really proud of that work and proud to see that.
The teacher compensation is the largest piece of the pie in a school district's budget, which means that any influx or any changes in that creates a significant wave, a ripple effect, if you will. So any changes like that make finance people very, very nervous. And so seeing that there was going to be resources that were going to come to the district that then would allow us to even have the opportunity to still affect teacher compensation while still being able to do some creative things on the other side, if we chose to do that. We did choose to do that, and we've continued that work. We've seen, very anecdotally, we've seen teachers be able to put down down payments on significant dreams
Cars.
that they would have never had the opportunity to do. And we've got to hear those stories over and over again as we've influenced that. So I think the main reason why Lubbock ISD got in from the ground up was the leader. And then secondly, the priority of us needing to make some change in teacher compensation and recognizing the value that it brings during the time when the teaching profession was waning in terms of its popularity and its nobility. And so we have to make a change somewhere, and that was the pathway that Lubbock ISD chose to make that change. I'll start from the non-academic side. I will just tell you, it's driven by performance. And so teachers know that there's a, for lack of a better way to say it, there's a payment on the other side of the effort, whereas before the payment was just a badge that said, my kid scored well on the test, right? My kids performed at a higher level than your kids, and that was a thing. But to see that there's compensation on the other side of that, that when my kids do better because of my instruction, then there's compensation for that. So years of experience doesn't have any bearing on TIA, but rather how I invest in my craft then has a payoff on the other side of it. So I think from the non-instructional side, it has to have driven performance, which means you're going to prepare better for your classes. You're going to invest in yourself to learn. You're going to do everything that you can to better your experience for your kids. And maybe on the other side, there's compensation, but at the end, the better experience for the kids is what teachers want to do. But if there's compensation on the other side, it's just the cherry on the top.
We have data, we have TIA data that shows also a tipping point. When you see a campus show that much growth and that much success, it comes out in your accountability, but it also comes out in all your other metrics as well. So you see the culture shift, you see your retention rate stays, the mobility for teachers goes down, the mobility for students goes down, you see all of this impact that comes out. And so you can look at the data and track that to show where that tipping point is when you get a large number of teachers in a building that are TIA eligible.